We've been watching President Trump alongside Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Secretary of the Navy John Phelan speaking to reporters at Mar-a-Lago. The president announcing a new class of ships he's calling the Golden Fleet, including 2 battleships that he says will be 100 times stronger than the current strongest ships. 2 vessels to be built in the short term, plans to expand to up to 25. The president also addressed strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean, and he says land strikes in Venezuela will happen, quote, soon. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins me now. So the president was asked, is this a counter to China or Venezuela? He says it's a counter to everybody. Why is he making this announcement now? What will these ships be used for?
Well, it's quite notable because he did just sign the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, that gets signed every year. But this year is particularly critical because the Navy is at this point, especially with their shipbuilding capacity, where they are retiring more ships than they are putting into active duty. That's a problem. This year, according to a CBO report, there are only 283 active Navy ships. That is a record low since World War II. So this is certainly an issue that the Pentagon is very much aware of, this president is very much aware of. He likes to tout in his first administration that he rebuilt the military. Well, this is at a critical point where it seems like they need to be doing more building than that. So today we heard from the president announcing what the Navy Secretary called the future Trump-class battleship USS Defiant. And this will be the latest and newest round of frigate battleships that will be used in the U.S. military. The president says they have anti-drone technology. They will be using robots, he says, to help build the ships. The ships will be made here in the U.S., and he made a comment that no ships have been made since 1994. There's a lot of news and information about that CBS has done, a lot of research and reporting about how difficult it has been to make ships here in the U.S. So that is quite notable, but certainly a lot of other ground, Lindsay, that he covered as well in what became a bit of a rambling question and answer session at Mar-a-Lago as the president is down there in Palm Beach for the Christmas holiday.
Interesting that he said they're bringing back industry and manufacturing, but says that a majority of these ships, well, at least robots, will be helping in some part, not necessarily a majority. The president was asked about the release of the Epstein files. He seemed quite irritated that this was taking up part of the press conference. What did we learn?
That he did. He did seem very irritated by it. He also said and came in a forceful defense of former President Bill Clinton, who he called someone who's always been nice to him. He said of the former President Bill Clinton and the photos coming out about him, President Trump said, "I don't like the photos of Bill Clinton being shown." Added, he's a big boy, he can handle it, but you probably have people who met Epstein several years ago and are now being part of this release of these photos. And the president said that they could ruin the reputation of people that are
Olivia,
in these
some
photos.
of the defense of Clinton could also be because the administration is being accused of picking and choosing what documents and photos to release in that first dump on Friday.
Well, certainly, and President Bill Clinton in a statement spoke to that, where he said, we don't know why that they were released the way that they were, but it's clear that something is going on. So now the president today saying, in a defense, saying that he's always been nice to each other, they've been nice to each other, but the president said that this release was the result of Democrats and a few bad Republicans who wanted this information public. Of note, this is something in Trump's own base that people wanted public and had been asking for several years. The president also made a comment about Epstein's Island, saying that he never went there, fortunately, but said that it is a nice island. And the president also added that he believes that Republicans are angry about this, the release of these files, because it deflects from the success of his first administration. And then he laid out what he believes are the top successes of this administration so far in its first year. So quite notable there, certainly a forceful reaction. He also said he doesn't understand that why, when he's making this presentation and these revelations, about these new battleships, why he's still being asked about Epstein, which just gives you a sense of how frustrated the president can be that this continues to be something he is asked about.
And it's causing fractures within the Republican Party. Olivia Rinaldi, thank you.